Hello and welcome to the tutorial about the Mocap transfer tool that I just finished writing, and I want to do a little show and tell on how to use it. We have two problems in AGP. People need riggers and they don't have them, and they need animation, 3D character animation. They don't have animators. So people have been using Mixamo quite a lot, which is good. The problem with Mixamo is it's kind of a black box and it's finished. So if you read in a Mixamo character, then you can't give that to an animator because it's not really an animation. It is instead a character that is basically a skeleton. So you got a nice animation here, and that you can't give to an animator because they can't do anything with it. It's kind of done. So in this case you've got two meshes, which I'm not showing right now, and the bones, but there's no rig proper. So people have been using Mixamo to gray box, but what they really want is something a little more robust that maybe they can use the Mixamo animations in some cases, and sometimes they want the animator to animate something new. So these are the two problems that we have, and what I wanted to do is write a tool so that you could take something from Advanced Skeleton and use that as a target from Mixamo as well as other Mocap. So this is a tool that will grow, but I wanted to get it in the hands of people that could use it quickly. So if you bear with me, I'll just give you a little bit of tutorial about it. Now this is dependent upon Advanced Skeleton being installed correctly, which means that you have to have it in your current version of Maya, and it's got to be inside your Maya's scripts folder. And if you want to know what that is, you just come down here to, if you're on a PC, Documents, then you go into Maya, and then you go into your version of Maya that you're using, and here's your scripts folder. So make sure that you've got Advanced Skeleton 5 files. I'll update it to be version agnostic in the future, but right now it's dependent upon Advanced Skeleton 5 files, as well as the Advanced Skeleton 5.mel. You got to have that in your scripts folder. So if you don't, you'll note that when you run this, which, by the way, all you need to do to run it is just drag it into Maya. But if I were to ignore 0, it was work, in fact, bye. So Maya transfer AS1. If you drag it into a version of Maya that does not have Advanced Skeleton in its scripts folder, it actually gives you this error. It says it needs it there first and it won't run until that. So make sure that you have your mel script there. Make sure you've got your Advanced Skeleton 5 files folder there. You've installed it there. It looks like it's up here in my folder, but it's not accessing it in the directory of 2016, which is this version of Maya. So forget you, man. We're going to go to 2018 here and try running it because I do have it installed in the scripts folder of this version of Maya. And when I drag it in here, pop, the UI comes up. So let's jump in. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get things ready from Mixamo to cleanly transfer to this rig. So I've got to open up a collapsible menu here, and you can set your FBX folders, meaning you've got default folders where you've got all your Mixamo files, and you get a default folder where you've got possibly one or more of your Advanced Skeleton rigs. So instead of hunting everywhere, I just wanted to give people a kind of a default setup to say, this is where all my Mixamo files are, this is where all the Advanced Skeleton files are. So just go to those places, please, whenever I want to. You can always clear these out and redo it, but it's a good way to have kind of a default place that it's looking, and then you can collapse that. So you open up the new XPX, which is the Mocap, and in this case it's going to be Mixamo. So make sure that you also select Mixamo from the drop-down menu here, Mixamo, and this will change this button to Bake Mixamo because this addresses the first problem we have, which is Mixamo is a kind of a baked rig, but we also need this in a T-pose. And that's what this Bake Mixamo button does. Pop, bakes it in a T-pose, and puts it, actually sets a keyframe at frame -20. So if you go to -frame 20, it's got that T-pose, and then eventually it sort of winds slowly into its animation, like so. But this allows us to track and to connect the rigs, so that's good. If you hit the output button, it just saves a Maya version of your FBX. So here we go. Now we're going to transfer this onto our Advanced Skeleton rig. So this is the second part. And this is where you take the animation and put it on the rig and then give it to your animator. So if you read in the Advanced Skeleton rig, it takes you to your default folder location. and I'll read in, let's say, the max rig. And what I have done is I've taken the max rig and I've given it a T-pose and then saved it as the rig I want to read in. Because without a T-pose, you can't really connect these characters. They can't figure out where their bones and bodies are. So this is a sequential series of 4 green buttons that every time you press on one, it turns gray, letting you know the next step you need to go to. So first we're going to read in the mocap skeleton. In other words, the Mixamo thing we just baked. So it's just going to read this file in. Or set a keyframe on. And there it is. If it's not in the proper pose, just go down here into Maya, -20, pop, and it'll go into its T-pose. So I'm just going to align these characters quickly. And this is something you want to do with your rig. If you find that all your Mixamo characters, once they go to 0, 0, 0, are in a certain place, and it doesn't quite match your rig, you're going to want to compensate your rig and then save your rig in this new position. So I'm just going to write down these numbers, later open the file, use these numbers to paste onto it, and then save the file, my advanced skeleton rig in that new position. So I don't need to move it every time. So I just go down the rest of these buttons, prepare to transfer to advanced skeleton. It's going to pop up a whole bunch of advanced skeleton windows. Don't close them. It needs to stay up. Just move them to the side if they're irksome. Transfer the moves to advanced skeleton, done, and then bake, and then get rid of the Mixamo mocap, because we got all we need from it. And there we go. And that's pretty much it. What you have now is a rigged character whose constraint systems are using the mocap, but not the bones. So this is something that an animator can continue to modify and go over if they want. And that's pretty much where you go if you have an animator, and they could use a little push from Mixamo or not. You just give them the rig, but now you've got Mixamo on the advanced skeleton as well as your custom animator dealing with advanced skeleton. And this last bit is if people just want to transfer this into their game. They just want Mixamo or the animator's done with their rig. This is a method by which Maya and advanced skeleton take something this complex. Take a look at how complex the advanced skeleton rig is. There's a lot going on. There's constraints, there's locators, it's just insane. And this could choke Unity or Unreal or a bunch of other systems, because you don't need a lot of this stuff. So this is a way that you can bake it onto a game rig, because what happens is advanced skeleton actually creates a simple hierarchy of skeletons for any easy transfer into a game project, and gets rid of this complex thing where there's like facial and all kinds of stuff. So just hit bake onto game rig, and it'll pop up with, are you sure the rig controllers no longer will work? You say, absolutely. I just want to transfer this into the game. This is the last step of baking, and it does this automatically for you. And at the end, what you have is something much less complex than what you were looking at earlier. So let's get rid of the sets and look at the group. This is just models, and then look at the bake transform. That's just a hierarchical skeleton now. Much, much simpler. That's all. And so you should be ready to bake this right into the game. And what you can close these other windows now if you'd like. So what this has is it has a 3-step section of having one and then later more types of mocap. It allows you a default setup here for your folders. It allows you to read in, sort Mixamo, and then put it on your rig for your animator if they want, and just bake it out to the game. So you can get, again, a skeleton using advanced skeleton in, and all you want to do is this last part when you read it in. And if you want to use mocap from Mixamo, use this part. Also, as a parting shot, what I've done is, in case you want to save your setup, that you've done all this work kind of filling in all these boxes all the way up here, go to settings and export the current settings, and it'll write it out to a text file inside your scripts folder. So if you clear these out, or God forbid you get rid of the window and you didn't mean to, you can drag this back in and go to settings, read in settings, and it'll read in that default text file. So there you go. I hope this saves time. Get a hold of me with any questions, and Happy end.